Ladies and gentlemen, fight fans all around the world, let's talk some boxing. We're looking at Golovkin versus Derevyanchenko, the CompuBox punch stats. And what we're going to do is we're going to compare it to Canelo versus Golovkin, their rematch fight, their CompuBox punch stats. And there's going to be something very interesting you're going to see. So we're going to talk about it right now. Now, when we look at Canelo versus Golovkin, the rematch, the overall punch stats for the fight, we see a story being told. Now, of course, a fight is judged round by round, so we don't really look at final punch stats, but nonetheless, it can paint a certain picture. I'll show you what I mean. We're just going to look at punches landed right now. We're not really looking at punches thrown. Punches thrown versus punches landed shows us accuracy. That's what it basically shows. But when we talk about total punches landed, which is what really counts in a fight, which shows us the activity of a boxer and where that activity is. And when we look at total punches landed, we see that Golovkin outlanded Canelo Alvarez 234 punches to 202 punches. But that doesn't mean much, right? And then when we look at the punches landed to the body, which is in brackets, you can see that Canelo outlanded Gennady Golovkin 46 punches to 6 punches. Now, Gennady Golovkin out-jabbed and outlanded jabs to Canelo's body. 118 punches landed to Canelo's 59. However, in spite of that, Canelo was able to land 143 power punches to Gennady Golovkin's 116 power punches, remembering that he landed 46 of those punches to Gennady Golovkin's body, whereas Gennady Golovkin could only land 6 to Canelo's body. What this shows here is that Canelo was very effective at landing his power punches to Gennady Golovkin, whereas Gennady Golovkin was not as effective, and therefore Gennady Golovkin's jabs that he was going to use to maintain range and get to his preferred range were not as effective at keeping Canelo off of him and landing his power punches not only to his head, but more importantly to his body. And so we see in the fight from these final punch stat numbers that Canelo was pushing Gennady Golovkin back, walking him down for the majority of the fight, because Canelo can get his power punches in on Gennady Golovkin's body, most importantly, which pushed him back, because we see Gennady Golovkin is vulnerable to his body. Now, when we look at Derevyanchenko's final punch stats compared to Gennady Golovkin's final punch stats, it also tells a very similar and interesting story. What it shows is that Golovkin outlands, again, Derevyanchenko 243 punches to 230, so both of them land more punches than did Canelo and Golovkin in their fight. And also, very importantly, we see that Derevyanchenko again outlands Gennady Golovkin with body punches 50 to 22. Gennady Golovkin landing more body punches on Derevyanchenko than he did to Canelo, probably depicting Canelo's defense being better than Derevyanchenko's. You can see that Gennady Golovkin outlanded Derevyanchenko with jabs 107 to 47. However, again, a similar tale, and even more interestingly, more punches were landed by Derevyanchenko on Gennady Golovkin than Canelo. 183 to 136, with, as we said, 50 of those body punches landing on Golovkin to Golovkin's 21 on Derevyanchenko. So, not only does Derevyanchenko land more power punches on Gennady Golovkin than Canelo did, but he also lands more body punches, 50 to Canelo's 46. However, Gennady Golovkin is also able to land more power punches on Derevyanchenko, as well as more body punches on Derevyanchenko. So that must be mentioned there. But a fight is not won or judged based on the cumulative or the complete final punch stats. It is judged round by round. And when we judge this fight round by round, we see that Gennady Golovkin was able to outland Derevyanchenko for exactly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He was able to outland Derevyanchenko for 6 rounds, which means this was an even fight. because we're looking at it round by round, which means Derevyanchenko was able to outland Gennady Golovkin for 6 rounds as well, showing how even the fight was in terms of who was landing punches, the majority of punches per round. When we look at Canelo, however, versus Gennady Golovkin, we see that Gennady Golovkin was able to outland on Canelo for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rounds. Only rounds 11, rounds 7, and round 6, Canelo was able to outland on Gennady Golovkin, which shows that Derevyanchenko actually did better than Canelo in terms of making the fight more even in terms of punches landed than Canelo did. Now, know that number of punches landed doesn't really say much. It's really the quality of punches, etc., etc., etc. But it's just very interesting that Canelo won his fight against Gennady Golovkin, whereas Derevyanchenko lost his fight against Gennady Golovkin, even though Derevyanchenko did better in terms of punches landed on Gennady Golovkin than Canelo did. When we look at now the type of punches, and the only thing that we have to separate that is jabs and power punches, Gennady Golovkin was able to out-jab Derevyanchenko from every single round except for round number 1, in which, for every single round except for round number 5, where Derevyanchenko had gotten Gennady Golovkin in some trouble, landing a liver shot to him. Okay? When we look at Canelo, we see that Gennady Golovkin was able to out-jab and outland the jab on Canelo for every single round. Again, Derevyanchenko doing one better than Canelo did. Yet Canelo wins the rematch with Gennady Golovkin, and Derevyanchenko does not win his fight against Gennady Golovkin. And let's look at one more punch stat, which is the power punches. In terms of power punches, Canelo Alvarez lands more power punches for rounds 1, and then rounds 4, and then rounds 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. In other words, he outlands Gennady Golovkin in terms of power punches for 9 rounds. Gennady Golovkin outlanding him in rounds number 2, 3, and round number 5. Whereas Derevyanchenko was able to outland Gennady Golovkin in terms of power punches for every single round except for round number 1, 11 rounds. Again, doing better than Canelo. Now, as we know, the overall motif is this, that Canelo beat Gennady Golovkin because he was able to get past Gennady Golovkin's jab. His jab was not as effective, and be able to land the power punches he wanted to land on Gennady Golovkin. That's why he won. Derevyanchenko did this, but he did it even better. He did it even better. Able to land more, and yet he lost this fight against Gennady Golovkin. And why I explain this and I emphasize on this is because people always talk about the jab, the jab, the jab. But the jab is only as effective as it is designed to keep you from landing body punches. If Gennady Golovkin had these guys diminish their body punch stats and their power punch stats, and he was to dominate with his power punch stats, it would make a difference. Or, round by round, that is. But we see he was more successful in his fight against Canelo than he was against Derevyanchenko, giving us more reason to believe from these punch stats that Derevyanchenko absolutely won this fight. Especially bearing in mind that he's an infighter and he doesn't have to use as much jabs when he gets to the inside. On that note, you guys have a great one.